Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play DuckTales Remastered. In the last part, we went through the Himalayas and now it's time for us to go even higher, to the moon.
It's a long way to the moon, lads. But the green cheese of longevity will make it worth the trip. Up, up and away!
And you might notice, we're looking a bit different right now. Because we're on the rope, that means we actually got the gyro minigame. And I swiftly fail at this, but it's basically just here to get some extra money. You constantly go right, and the stage does eventually end.
Gosh, Mr. McDuck! I've never been to the moon before!
Well, when it comes to space cadets, Fenton, you're a natural. Now, Gyro, why in blazes are we chewing this awful blue muck?
Why, that's Oxy Chew, Mr. McDuck. It's my latest invention, oxygen-flavored taffy. 5 good chews and you can breathe on the lunar surface without a spacesuit. Oh, and it tastes great, too.
That, Gyro, is a matter of opinion. Now, which way to the green cheese?
What do you mean? Isn't it all around us?
Yeah? How do you figure?
Everybody knows the whole moon's made of green cheese. Well, that's what my dear mama said.
And you could take a feather brain like you to believe her. Ugh, sometimes I don't know what I'm gonna... Wait, what's that?
Look, here's someone who can give us directions. Hello?
Ah!
Mr. McDuck! Help!
Oh, no! We've got to save him!
Do we really?
We do if you want to find that treasure of yours, Mr. McDuck. Fenton was carrying the Gizmo Duck suit. That's the only thing we've got powerful enough to break into the moon vault.
All right, fine. Stay here and guard the supplies while I look for that bumbling bookkeeper.
And welcome to basically everyone's favorite level from the original game. The moon's music is still as good as it ever was, by the way, although it's still not my favorite track. And it also has probably one of the more annoying respawning enemies. These are robots. I don't know why, but I just have a hell of a time dodging them. Now, despite being on the moon, your physics actually aren't that changed, if at all. You jump more or less at the exact same altitude as you always did, which is kind of disappointing, admittedly.
Why, that looks like the same spaceship that took off with Fenton. Well, I guess this means I'm invited on board.
Now, from my memory at least, this is actually one of the few missions that had an outright secondary objective to do in the NES game, because you still needed to do something to get Gizmo Duck ready, though I think it involved the nephews, if my memory is recalling correctly from the old LP.
Blast me bagpipes! A piece of Gizmo Duck's suit! Oh, if only I had a way to open this door.
Because in both versions of this game, the way of the treasure is actually to go right from the spaceship, but no matter what version you play, you actually still need to go into the spaceship in order to progress. But this does add another explanation or two.
Fenton, get down from there and stop embarrassing yourself.
Mr. McDuck! Thank goodness you're here! I think those aliens wanted to suck out my brain and make an army of Fenton clones!
Bah, you'd soon learn that one of you is one too many. Now, help me find a security override so we can get to your Gizmo Duck suit.
You mean this?
Security system disengaged.
Fenton, you're a genius!
Gee, Mr. McDuck, do you mean it? Oops.
Warning, damage report. Artificial gravity system is offline.
Fenton, you're a nincompoop. You broke the gravity controls.
Not to worry, I'll have it fixed in a jiffy. I got a level 3 certificate of technology from Happy Ducky University, you know.
Oh, no you don't. You'll probably slam into the self-destruct button too. I'll get us out of this.
And now we have a Zelda-style switch puzzle where we need to hit all 3 of these switches up before a time limit ends, otherwise I guess you just have to redo it. Honestly, I've never failed this, so I'm not entirely sure what happens.
Gravity system restored. All systems normal.
Nice work, Mr. McDuck. Now, let's go get my Gizmo Duck suit.
Not so fast, Dunderhead. You go wait with Gyro. I'll find a gizmo duck suit myself.
Well, he was rather compliant with that. Either way, now we can actually not only go back and get that first Gizmo Duck suit piece that we saw a bit earlier, but we can also now head higher into the ship to find the other two. At this point, the level becomes very similar to its original NES incarnation, though.
It's Gizmo Duck's helmet! Ugh, if I didn't know better, I'd swear Fenton actually gets smarter when he wears this thing. Maybe I'm a wee bit too hard on the lad. Now, only 2 more parts to find, and we can break into that moon bolt.
Now, this also allows me to address something. I was an idiot in my original DuckTales NES playthrough. You see, what happened was, when I did that, I actually hadn't watched some of this show or Darkwing Duck in a long time, and I said some dumb stuff because of that. Namely, I think I said that Gizmo Duck was Launchpad for some dumb reason when he's very much not. And I distinctly recall saying that Darkwing Duck was Scrooge, which is why Launchpad was in both shows. Now, to younger me's credit, the Scrooge being Darkwing thing is actually for some reason something I remember happening from my childhood. For some reason, young me just couldn't process the fact that they were 2 separate characters. I don't know why. So that's just young me being an idiot, but Launchpad being Gizmo, yeah, no. Just no. But that said, though, I really should tackle the Darkwing Duck game at some point, because that is really good. That's another game I think deserves a remastered kind of treatment, just with some more up-to-date patches. More on why I want that for this game even later on. Now, the ship does have 2 major pathways, but we only come to the left here, so we can get another piece of Gizmo Duck.
Looks like I found Gizmo Duck's armored suit. It's a good thing Gyro rigged up this hyperspace pocket for me to carry things around in. Now just 1 more part to find and I can get off this flying monstrosity.
Oh, so that's how you explain the fact that you carry all that shit throughout the game. Although this is probably the only level where you would really need it, because you could carry 8 coins of that size fairly easily and such back in the Amazon. The regulator parts are very small in the Himalayas, so on and so forth. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, because I just don't show it off, is that after we beat the stage, as we're going to see, we're not going to be treated to the standard cutscene that we get with the nephews. However, there is a cutscene with the nephews for after you beat the stage if it's not your 5th stage. Essentially, you get a cutscene talking about the treasure that you get at the end of the stage for every stage, except for your 5th one, because then you're launched into the endgame stuff. And in the ending cutscene for this with the nephews, they talk about our goal here, the cheese and longevity. Namely the fact that Scrooge wants to use it for some anti-aging supplements, but it smells like utter shit, so they're all like, eh. And then it leads into the whole, alright lads, where to next? So you're missing out on that. You can probably very easily find it probably just by looking up like DuckTales Remastered Moon cutscenes. I can't record it at this point because at this point I've actually just completely uninstalled the game from my computer to make up some hard drive space. I've had this installed on my computer, by the way, since I got this laptop. Again, I got this laptop during the recording for Mother 1 before A Link to the Past, because A Link to the Past was the first game I did on this. And, well, it's been some time since then, clearly. And even then, I had this installed on my old laptop, Bessie, for a long time too, thinking I would get to it eventually. And again, I know I mentioned it back in part 1, but I really, Scott, if you're watching, I really am sorry I took so long to get to this.
Why are you here, Mrs. Beakley?
Because zero gravity is the last place for bad dining habits, Mr. McDuck. There'll be no skipping meals on my watch.
Ah, thank you kindly, dear.
I hope you're taking care of the boys, Mr. McDuck. They're always finding their way into mischief.
And that's basically the last Mrs. Beakley. I think I may have actually missed her in the Himalayas. I forget if she's even in that stage. But, yeah, it's nice things. Now, if I recall, there was something else there in the NES version. I want to say that's where the secret treasure was for the stage. But as you can see, they clearly moved it. And as I mentioned before, any secret treasures in this game are where the health extensions are in the health extension stages in hard mode and above. That is something I find a bit odd about this game, though. They call the game's difficulties easy, medium, hard, and extreme. Why don't they just call medium mode normal mode? Because that's what it's usually called.
Gizmo Duck's wheel! I've always wondered what Gyro was thinking when he designed this thing. Who fights crime with a unicycle? Now that I've got all 3 parts, I can head back to Fenton and Gyro. I hope it's not too late.
And with that, we're actually going to have a bit of a rarity in this LP. I'm actually going to outright jump cut back towards the entrance to the stage because we need to backtrack all the way there. Notably, they're going to be missing out on some treasure because I actually did head all the way to the right first because I just forgot the order of operations.
We're in luck. I managed to find all of Gizmo Duck's suit.
Oh boy! Now we could blast into the treasure vault!
Just a moment, Fenton. Gyro, I think I left my favorite $2 bill under the back seat. Would you mind getting it for me?
Sure thing, Mr. McDuck.
Gee, boss, why'd you send Gyro back onto the ship?
So he doesn't find out you're Gizmo Duck when you put on that suit, you dunderhead.
But there are only 3 of us here, sir. Won't he figure it out anyway, when Gizmo Duck appears and I've mysteriously vanished?
I wouldn't worry about that. Gyro may be a brilliant inventor, but his deductive reasoning skills are about as good as yours.
Oh! Hey!
Would you just get on with it? Say your secret code word and activate that confounded contraption.
Code word? Gee, I can't remember it. Oh, blather and blatherskite, I'm useless. I mean, I'm useful to the extreme. Point me toward the offending blockade, so that I might deal justice upon it.
Cut the dramatics, would you, and follow me.
Mr. McDuck? Fenton? Gizmo Duck? They're gone. And all I could find was this $2 million bill. Oh well, back under the seat it goes.
Oh, Gyro, you idiot. But now, similarly to Bubba back in the Himalayas, we actually have Gizmo Duck following us to this section. He likes to nuke any enemy that shows up on screen with his missiles. He can also destroy blocks, but that's more or less about it for him. He generally has trouble keeping up with the player just because we can pogo faster than he can generally move. But he's helpful, I suppose. But yeah, there's treasure you're missing here because I cut out me accidentally going to the right first earlier. Whoops.
This is the place. Gyro's calculation said the green cheese of longevity lies just beyond this door.
Step aside, citizen, whilst I blast the door asunder. How was that, Mr. the path is clear, good sir.
Good work, Gizmo Duck. Now, Flint-Hat Glumgold. What are you doing here, you pernicious pilferer?
Why, same as you, Scroogey. Trying to corner a new segment of the dairy market.
Why, you... How did you find out about the green cheese?
Wouldn't you like to know? But thanks for saving me the trouble of blasting through that door on my own.
I'll stop him, Mr. McDuck! Halt, evildoer!
No, Gizmo Duck. I need you to help me deal with the... Beagle Boys. Bah!
And that's it for Gizmo. Makes me wonder what the point of adding such a short-lived gimmick is, but I guess you wanted to go for extra treasure, like saying the ship he could help you out up there. I'm not even sure if he can actually get up there, though. But yeah, the diamonds that you missed me get earlier are fairly self-explanatory as to where they are. If you just jump around, you'll find them pretty easily in that section to the right. Now, if you're looking out for the health extension or secret treasure at this stage, we're actually coming up on it. Though I have to say, overall, this underground section is pretty bland, honestly. Because the big thing with the moon in DuckTales was never the interior section. It was always the alien ship and the outside partnered with the music. This little last section is more or less an afterthought in the long scheme of things in the level. Either way, jump up here, up this honestly very obvious secret, and there's where our secret treasure / health extension is. And with that, that's all 8 health that you can get on easy and medium mode. If you're playing on hard or above, you already have all 5 health, and then you just got the extra 3 treasures. And this is the last section of the level, and one thing I wanted to mention before we actually get to the boss fight is that I like what they did with the intro for this fight, because it actually makes the NES game's boss fight make sense. Not only do we know how this thing got here, but we see how it got to look like how it did. And, nice bonus.
Mirth and be merry. I made it here first. No, not the cheese. Anything but that. Great Scott! I thought that stuff was supposed to be an anti-aging culture, not an instant growth fungus.
So that's how giant rats get on the moon. Either way, the rat at the start of the fight likes to just run back and forth a little bit before eventually, after you hit it like 3 times, glowing green, in which case it'll run along the bottom of the screen. However, when it goes off screen, it can appear from any of the 6 holes you see on screen. You know when that attack from rushing is done when it appears at the top middle of the screen, at which point it'll start to jump from left to right. After a few hits there, it'll glow green again, and repeat ad nauseum. That's about all this fight has to offer. However, I have to admit, the addition of the extra speed and such does make this a more exciting fight. I'm stumbling all over my words for some reason right now. On the whole, the moon, about as hard as it was in the NES game. In fact, I have to admit, just due to some of the more cramped level design and some of the enemy placements, like the constantly respawning ducks, the moon was probably already one of the harder stages in the original game, and it carries that through here, honestly. But still, good level, good music. Boss fight is easy enough. Obviously, I've taken 2 hits, so if you choose this for your first stage, the boss could be potentially annoying there because it's very easy to actually misjudge a pogo and get hit by its charge attack. But beyond that, we're about done with this fight. I think it takes 12 hits for this boss. It might be 15, though. Either way, it's about to be over about now. Oh, actually, no. No.
Giant moon rat or no giant moon rat, nothing's gonna keep this duck from that green cheese and all the green it's gonna make me.
And that's the last of the main 5 stages completed. I want to say in terms of making money, the moon is actually one of the worst levels for that for some reason. I think it's because of the more constricted level design. There's just not as many places they can put diamonds, so if you're going for money and you just play the game over and over again, yeah, it can be good for that, but comparatively, it's one of the worst stages. And now, time for one hell of a cutscene.
We did it, boys! All 5 treasures are mine! Boys?
Sorry, McDuck, but your meddlesome nephews are a wee bit tied up at the moment.
Flintheart Glumgold, you put the Beagle boys up to this.
Guilty as charged, Scroogey. I've been the world's 2nd richest duck long enough, but these treasures will soon change that.
Oh, tell your goons to release my boys.
Not till you fork over that last treasure.
Don't do it, Uncle Scrooge. Don't do it.
The way I see it, McDuck, you're not in much of a position to argue.
Yeah, aye. You drive a hard bargain, Glumgold. Take it, you filthy cheat.
Flintheart Glumgold, the richest duck in the world. How does it feel to be number 2, Scroogey?
Magica dispel!
Oh, it's so rude of me to drop in unannounced.
What are you doing here, Magica? Quick, somebody sound the alarm! Duckworth, Mrs. Beakley, call the Pentagon. Sell me stock and bonds.
Not so fast, fools.
Whack-a-rooney, Uncle Scrooge. I can't move. Me neither. Now I know how a statue feels.
Greedy old fools. These treasures are far more valuable than money.
And just what do you mean by that?
You find secrets hidden inside old painting, yes? Painting of Drake von Bloodstone, also known as Count Dracula Duck. These treasures are part of spell to summon him.
Bah, what rubbish.
You will see. With power of Dracula Duck under my command, I will rule the world. Unless, you'd rather surrender #1 dime, Scrooge. Dime is much gentler way to conquer world. Will save a great deal of trouble. Also, less risk of accidental Dracula bite.
The first dime I ever made? Never.
Then I will take precious nephews instead. You will bring me dime quickly enough after that.
Hey, Dims is our hostages. Find your own.
Quiet, piggle boys. Now I take leave. Bring #1 dime to my home on Mount Vesuvius in 24 hours, or little nephews will become snackula for Dracula. Yeah! Oh dear, sometimes I still get carried away.
The lousy, no-good so-and-so. I stole those treasures fair and square.
This is no time for bellyache and Glomgold. I've got to save those boys.
Pah, forget it. That she-devil's long gone. You can't catch her now.
Maybe you're right, Flinty. That leaves me no choice. How about a deal? You help me get the boys back, and you can keep the 5 treasures.
Ha! Without your dime, I'll become the richest duck in the world, and you'll be nothing but a shriveled-up old has-been.
That dime's not worth 10 cents next to the safety of my boys. Do we have an agreement?
Are you joshing? It's a deal. You know what I think, McDuck? I think you've gone soft. You've let those pesky rugrats become a business liability, and I'm gonna be the richer for it.
Oh, go soak your head.
But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 7, we're heading off to the final level where things can go a bit wrong. See you guys then.